to rumble in the middle of the river. We knew that we would experiment with a variety of locations. I wasn't thinking about the conditions as far as variable conditions, as far as temperature and sunshine and heat waves and
Right.
so we're having a little bit of fun playing with the mixing of heat wave and sitting in the river. And it's kind of perfect.
We hardly ever have to think about heat wave.
And prior to the camera being on, we were talking about change arising. You're saying that it's exponentially spinning off. We've never been here before. We won't be here again. And what I thought was the most pressing subject in change for us, for what the work that we're doing, for where we're at in the world, for what has changed so dramatically in the world, is how do we find what is spiritual in this present day? Like, it's like, here we are, and the world knew a type of spirituality millennia ago, and then it knew a type of spirituality like in more recent times, and now all of that throughout the ages has come apart, has, what's the word I'm looking for? All of that through the ages has, dissipated, crumbled away, gone back to whatever. And I feel like, just in my short lifespan on this planet thus far, that we're missing it. That it's kind of lost in a way. Yeah. And people are finding it in their own individual ways if they're interested in that. But I think it's not even being paid attention to in so many ways. And nobody's carving, a new frontier in that matter where everybody's like, yeah, let's follow that. Like, there's a lot of individualism and yet our work is that.
Yeah, that's such a great conversation. It's so interesting how the literature that I've been reading was exactly that yesterday, where the spiritual journey has gone from this authoritative figure of, this is what he was saying, this authoritative figure of, do what I say, and you will be saved and go to the right place after death. And if you don't do what I say, you're going to go to the wrong place. And so people were coerced to behave in a certain way from a place of fear. And then it went and swung over here, swaying over here.
With the crawdads.
It swung over to this place of individuality spiritual practice where, I just have to think positive thoughts and then I can have more money and I can have the good life and and then people have done that for the last couple of decades and discovered, well, that doesn't work very well because I'm not a millionaire yet and I've got health issues and relationship issues.
Oh, fun.
We will now break for a tube interlude.
So we can talk about all the forms it's ever been,
right?
As far as religious, as far as connected to nature, as far as astrology, as far as zodiac, as far as the first calendars and things like that. We're all different variations of the form of linking everything together.
Right.
But where's the together linking happening in this present day world that is so individualized?
Yeah, well, I guess that's what I was getting to, is that this process of, then it became this idea of autonomous spirituality, that I create my own reality, and I create my own spiritual connection. And it has fallen out. People aren't having, we even know people who have taught amazing philosophy and they're in their latter years of life going, it's not working for me. Right? Like, so there's this falling out of, I did all the right things and it's not working for me, to this place of where people are. Well, what is it then? And so then I think that that's the bigger conversation, is that I was reading some mystical book this morning, and she says, as soon as you try to name it, you can find it. And so I believe that the journey isn't about having a philosophy to explain it, but rather it's a journey of, it's so hard to even talk about.
Because you're naming it,
Because
trying to define it.
And so it becomes like, all I can do is explain this experience that I've had several times, not a lot. We were out in the West Coast, and beautiful old growth trees and perfectly pristine river, and I was by myself hiking amongst these trees and big boulders and just like in nature. And I had this just a feeling of I was nature. It sounds ridiculous to try and talk about it, because the feeling was all of a sudden I had melted into the environment in which I was immersed. And there was this desire not to leave, but if only I could stay in this presence, and it was just this totally melting into the rocks and the trees and the river, and I was them. Those experiences, I think, are to come to that place and expand that in even this conversation is like, I don't need to do anything to be more spiritual. I don't need to go anywhere. I don't need to learn anymore. I need to settle into myself in this moment. Which
actually, strangely, sounds very individual.
Right? It does, because that's the trip. Is that, there it goes, little guppy. That's the trip, is that when we hear that, at first we're like, oh, it's all about what I want. And it's like, not quite. It's beyond what you want. It's actually about discovering who you are, which is a much more profound conversation. Yeah, we have this conversation often.
And yet it's hard to talk about.
When we talk about community.
And yet we're trying to talk about it.
When we talk about community, right? It's what does community mean to me versus what does it mean to you versus what does it mean to beautiful Jenny over there?
Or all these people.
All these people, yeah. And we can be having a conversation about community thinking we're all on the same page, and actually we're having two totally different conversations.
Yeah.
So it's the same when I talk about finding out who I am. I'm not saying at the expense of others. Because when I had that spiritual experience in the forest, it wasn't at the expense of the forest. I became part of. So if I'm finding out who I am, and one just jumped, it's so distracting. If I become more of who I am, it's not at the expense of others around me. It's actually emerging with that which is around me. It's so different. And then it's an attraction, right? Then there's an attractive quality about it. It's not a narcissistic quality where people are like, oh my God, you don't want to hang out with that person. It's the opposite. That when I meet somebody who's so grounded in themselves, I want more of their presence in my life. Because I get
someone having a very rich experience with their life.
Right? And and so when I'm in their presence, I end up having a rich experience with my life. Maybe that's the same with nature. Nature's bringing out that richness.
For sure. I have a really great view in this conversation right now. Like, as I'm looking at you, I'm looking at all of this. As you're looking at me, you're looking up there. Like, it's totally different views, too.
Yeah.
It's great. Because as you're talking, I'm being brought into that space within myself anyway. Like, yeah, feel this temperature, and then look at this sight, and there's a butterfly that passed by, or you saw the little fish, and people floated by.
Right?
Yeah.
I know, I was thinking about that too. Like, here we are, and there's a couple over there, and a lady in the river up to her knees, and the man fishing, and then people floating by, and we're recording a podcast, and Jenny's getting some cool footage, and it's like all this is happening. Cars driving over the bridge. And it's not happening separate of, it's all just integrated into this oneness. And I have a thought. I feel like when I work with people, often what I hear them talk about is their struggle, like, which comes from a place of separateness. How am I going to pay the bills? Like, they're trying to, like, there's this push of the world around them, and somehow they're trying to find their way into the world, and they feel outside of it. And so paying the bills and getting the groceries and, working their job, instead of this immersion into, I'm living my life, and this is all part of my life.
Noticing all the qualities of it.
Yeah.
And not zooming in on the distractive stuff, or
and isn't that hard,
or
though?
the limiting stuff. Yeah, totally.
And can't remember if it's this article or the one I wrote before, but I was talking about, and so what do I do when I get to that place and I wake up in the morning and I'm like, another day. What the hell? All right, I'll just grind through this other day. Or, I'm such a loser, or I'm so worthless.
Life's so tough.
Life's so tough. When is it ever going to be easier?
Yeah.
When am I going to figure it out? What do I do?
No.
What is my answer to that problem?
Back to work.
What did you say?
Back to work.
Yeah, back to work. Oh my God, 5 more days until the weekend again. It's Monday.
Yeah.
And so my antidote is my spiritual practice. Always. There's no other solution.
Yeah.
And so I am in this work because I don't care what somebody's faith is, just have one. And have a practice that helps get back into that space of, there's something bigger going on. There's no way I can know what it is. I can just trust it. Have to.
Yeah.
And so I meditate. I've been told meditation's good for me. Damn it, I don't feel like it. Do it anyway. Sit on the frickin' couch and meditate for 10 minutes, right? Like, I don't feel like being here. Nope, it's not 10 minutes yet. Just breathe, breath work, journaling, reading spiritual literature. All of it is what I do in order to keep sanity, in order to find that place of my own balance. And what I want for everybody, because what do we do otherwise? It's painful.
We try and biohack. We try and life hack.
Yeah.
We feel unfulfilled and stressed
We divert,
out, and
right? Maybe I'll watch this. Maybe I'll watch, go through TikTok for the next 20, 30 minutes. And for that 20, 30 minutes, I can be distracted from my pain, from my
yet
suffering.
at the same time see a bunch of more things that make you feel like you want more, that bring you back into your pain.
Which is just, worsens the whole situation. Right, and that's what statistically all the studies are showing, is that diversion of whatever it is, we have so many of them, whether it be eating, drinking, shopping, make the list. All those diversions that we do of keeping ourselves so busy that we can divert ourselves from our...
And life itself, the way that it's all been laid out and the way that we function as a society keeps us busy and distracted and not dropped into our center and not noticing everything, the richness around us. It's busy, it's fast.
It's busy and fast.
Yeah. So you're bringing some intentionality to practices in a day that, because you still are involved in this busy world.
Yeah. I was sharing with my husband this morning, waking up and looking at our body battery, right? We all have these, not all, but so many of us have these devices. And so we've been watching that, right? And you've been really helpful in that, in saying, like, we live this lifestyle that this organism, this meat suit that we live in, isn't designed to be go, 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 go. Mm-hmm. And how the body battery for me is a great tool, because I can look at it, whether it's right or wrong, doesn't even matter. But I can look at it and go, holy crap, like, I woke up with only 59% this morning. I better take it easy today, because if I don't, and so it's like a teaching tool, because otherwise I'm oblivious to how drained I am until something knocks me off my feet, and then I'm sick for a week, or something happens to knock me off my feet. Yeah. And so having that to go, I'm going to take today and just use it, and as a guidepost to really taking it easy, having a nap, maybe not emptying my trailer of soil today. I'll leave that for another day when I have more energy.
But if you're somebody that doesn't have the, like, in their reality, they don't have the time and the space to just not do, or to have a daytime nap or whatever. Like, sometimes, I mean, we live a different life than so many, and even we understand the busyness factor. But so I want to say, like, oh yeah, sounds all good. Take a nap and don't do the thing you were planning to do. But, like, some people, like, work, 16 hours. Like,
it's fair.
So I would say to that, it could look like you just don't say yes to another thing. Let's take it back to away from productivity and back to spirituality now. Because we have all those things. We have all the things we have the world that exists presently, the way we live life, the way it's all rigged up, the way we're marketed to, the way human psychology. We have all the things that take us further away from that idea of living a spiritual life. Like, we all know what they are. We don't even need to hash them out. We know what they are. We don't know how to find that thing that we're really looking for.
Keeps circulating through my mind is start, just begin. I can't give anybody an answer except begin. Find what, like, get a faith. Find what calls to the heart and follow that.
What do we want to know? What do we want to hear from everybody else about on that? Like, how they're going to start? How are you going to start?
How are you going to start? Or even tell me about how you started if you're already on that journey, right? Mm-hmm. I want to hear, because there are so many different stories out there. Totally. Share your story.
Yeah. Where do you find your spiritual life? Mm-hmm. Love it. We're going to high five every time.
Why not?
That'll be our closing thing.